Imagine this. You step onto the stage, the lights hit your face, and the audience is on the edge of their seats, hanging on to every single word you say. That's not just Broadway magic. It's the secret to standing out in any industry.
Most entrepreneurs blend in, but if you want to command attention, make sales, and get people lining up to work with you, you have to discover how to perform like a pro. And today we're going to break down the principles of Broadway, translating it into business success.
Oh, yes. This is how you create an unforgettable brand, keep your audience engaged, and turn every performance, whether on a stage or in a sales call, into a standing ovation.
Let's do this.
Lights, camera, profit. This is Public Speaking Profits, the show that turns your passion into paydays and your words into wealth. I'm Justin Guarini, Broadway star, keynote speaker, and your guide to commanding the stage.
And I'm Kim Welsh-Phillips, marketing strategist, best-selling author, and your no-nonsense partner in turning stages into sales machines.
We're here to empower you to own the stage, crush the pitch, and definitely have a little fun while you're doing it.
So if you're ready to stop being a hidden gem and start becoming the go-to speaker in your industry,
then grab a pen, take some notes, and let's get started. Welcome to the Public Speaking Profits podcast, where we show entrepreneurs how to use the power of speaking to grow their business, build their brand, and get... Can I say it again?
oh, it got cut out. I think you did a very high on that part, so I couldn't even hear the word paid, and it's so important that we definitely need to say that line again in a deeper voice.
Definitely, yes. Thank you very much for the program recording this. Speaking to grow the business, build a brand, and get paid to share their message. My name is Justin Guarini.
And I'm Kim Welsh-Phillips, and on today's episode, it's all about the business of Broadway, which really warms my theater geek heart. And it's not about like the ticket sales, but the performance secrets that empower successful entrepreneurs and speakers, to business owners, to rise to the top. I mean, this is like my little girl dream come true this episode.
We don't. You and me both. We get to be marketing nerds and theater nerds. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about performance. It's obvious why performance matters on Broadway, but why it matters in business is also a big thing that we're going to talk about right now. Okay, Kim, so we're going to kick this off. Most people think performance is just for actors and singers, but in reality, business is like kind of one big performance and production, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. When you're pitching a client, running a webinar, or even posting on social media, every time you show up, you're performing. And the better you perform, the more people are going to pay attention.
That is correct. The best businesses, the best brands, and the best entrepreneurs aren't just selling a product or a service. No. They're telling a story. And they're doing it in a way that makes people feel something. It's that thing that makes you stop scrolling. I say it all the time, but it's what we do. We're scrolling along, boring, and then somebody hits us with a hook that then gets us to listen to a story, a great story that makes us feel the feels.
And that's the key, right? Emotion. The businesses that win are the ones that don't just inform us, but entertain and engage.
100%. So today we're going to share how you can use Broadway's biggest performance secrets, make your business irresistible.
All right. Well, let's get into that first lesson. Okay. So this is about how Broadway performers keep audiences hooked from start to finish. So Justin, what is the secret?
It is a lovely secret. It is all about energy and pacing. A Broadway show doesn't start with a slow, boring introduction. No, it usually grabs you from the first note. It's called a big production number. Pretty much everybody gets on the stage, the lights are up, and it's the introduction. It's the big sort of like moment of the show.
So how do we translate that to business then?
Well, simple. Your first impression matters. Hello. Whether you're on a stage in a sales call or creating content, you need to grab attention like right away. That is the currency, right, Kim? That is like the currency. Attention is like the biggest currency.
And one of my favorite strategies is something we call the grand entrance. It's how you walk onto the stage and start with something different than what other speakers do. Most speakers will be like, hello, welcome everyone, or thank you to the organizers for having me. Boring. Everybody does that. But instead, when you start with the grand entrance, you're doing that big opening number like they do in a Broadway show. You could lead with a bold statement, a question, or something unexpected like, it was a Tuesday night and the rain poured on my face. Something that gets people into the mood and starts to have them picture the story you're about to tell.
That's right, gives them the feels. And that's a Broadway move. We start with a big musical number, like I was saying before, or a dramatic moment to make the audience go, whoa, to shake them out of wherever they're at and make them say, I need to see what happens next. Well, your business has to do the same exact thing.
Yeah, and it's really all about storytelling, right? Because Broadway doesn't just show, it makes you feel. And that's how audiences connect so deeply.
Yes, exactly. Every Broadway show follows a story arc, and businesses should too. You've got to take your audience on a journey that has a beginning, then a conflict, and then a resolution.
Okay, and so here's where most entrepreneurs mess up. They make themselves the star of the story. They're thinking about, there's a story I wanted to tell about this time I didn't get the cookie from the kindergarten teacher, and now I believe in the.
Right.
What does that relate to your audience? Okay, what you want your audience to be able to do is see themselves as the potential hero in their story. Because you did it, they can do it too, right? And on Broadway, the hero is always the audience, and that's the same thing as relates to business. It's funny. We were just recently listening to David Goggins' book, and You Can't Hurt Me.
Can't
And
hurt me. Yeah.
yeah, Can't Hurt Me. And and it's like listening to his book, which was amazing. A part of me was thinking, maybe I can do a 24-hour run. And no, I have no desire. And no, I can't. But he's still like, as he told the way he told the story, it was like it pulled the reader in to let ourselves believe we could be a hero just like David was. That's the kind of storytelling you want to do as a business owner.
Yes, very true. And I do have to push back, Kim. You could do a 24-hour run
I'm
if you
choosing
wanted to.
not
I
to.
believe it. Yeah,
I'm
choosing not to is one thing.
I have
Yeah,
done it.
but
I had done a 24-hour run in my life before as a fundraising event, by the way. We did it. We walked around the track for 24 hours straight, but I do not want to do that again, at least at this time. I
yeah,
do not.
exactly. Well, look, yes, you're one of the most mentally strong people I've ever met, and I believe that you can do it. I'm right. Thank you very much. We're both right. But back, enough about us. Let's get back to why the customer is the main character. it- the customer's main character, you want them to be able to see themselves in your journey. Let's take
Mhm.
one of the biggest shows on Broadway, Wicked, right? Why do women, little girls, young ladies love Wicked? Because in the Green Girl, Elphaba, and in Belinda, you can see yourself in one of the others, right? The outcast one who has a good heart, who just wants to love and be loved. And then the other one who's just like, thinks that they have to fit in and but really loves girly things and blah, 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 right? So when you are the guide that helps them see themselves in your journey, you help them win. So think of yourself as the Broadway director, as a Broadway director. You set the stage for them. But at the end of the day, whatever your story is, it has to
Mhm.
have transformation. And you have to make the transformation about their transformation, your customer's transformation.
That's so good. And here's the action step for everyone listening. Look at your marketing, your sales calls, and your social media posts. Are you making your audience the star? Or are you focusing on you? And you can connect the problem that you solve with what they need and desire, what they truly want. That's how you turn your marketing into sales.
Man, all right, here we go, friends. It's time for some tough love. If you want to shine, to be a pro, to be seen as a pro, you cannot wing it. Period. End of story. Broadway performers rehearse for months before opening night. Years. before opening night. And yet I see entrepreneurs walk onto a stage or hop onto a sales call with zero preparation. It's a huge no-no.
Oh my gosh, we run speaker competitions, and there are people who show up. They signed up. They knew the event date. We have rehearsals ahead of time, and they show up completely unprepared. It's a 2-minute talk, and
Yes.
they don't have it memorized. I'm sorry, but you want to take this job seriously? You want to get booked on premier stages? No one's going to book you if you can't memorize a 2-minute talk. And they wonder why they don't get the results that they want. The truth is, the best speakers, salespeople, entrepreneurs, they don't just get lucky. They put in the reps, and too often we want to say that it was luck or born talent because we don't want to own the responsibility we need to have to actually put the work in to get the results that we want.
Yes, exactly. Do not be one of the mediocre many. Be one of the fortunate few. As Dr. Myron Golden likes to say, in every talk, every webinar, every pitch, you should be practicing to memorize a script, but to just know it instinctively inside. Well, we talk about in acting, it's like get it into your body, not just into your head, get it into your body because it just will flow out from you that way. And you can deliver it naturally. And not if, when things happen, you can make adaptations on the fly.
Yeah, that's the Broadway mindset. When you rehearse enough, you have the freedom to be present in the moment because you don't have to think about the next thing you're going to say. It's coming out naturally.
Yes. Yes, because you're not thinking about what you have to say, right? You just own it, like you just said, Kim. Now, segment number 5 here. This is all about the thing that Kim and I thrive on. The old standing O, the standing ovation.
All right. So let's wrap this up with this final lesson. It's all about how do you leave the audience wanting more?
That's a wonderful, wonderful thought. Every great Broadway show has a big old finish, right? It's not just about ending, it's about making the audience feel something so they cannot wait to tell everyone about it and that they leave the room with a high.
So, how do we do that in business?
Ah, what a wonderful question, Kim. Let me answer it right now. By closing with impact. I don't care if it's a speech, a sales call, a webinar. Don't just, I'll say that again. Don't just, don't just fade out. Don't say, okay, that's my presentation. Thank you very much. Okay, bye. No, you got to end. You got to end with a clear call to action. Make it a memorable story that ends on an aha or some sort of emotional takeaway.
That's the key, right? Because if people feel something at the end, they remember you. And if they remember you, the more likely to want to buy from you, to find out how they can work with
Yeah.
you, want to book you on the
Yes.
next stage.
Just, I want to scream real loud, but that'll hurt people's ears, so I won't. So, hey, all right, let's recap.
They're like faded out at the end because it went high pitched.
And that's right. And we look, we lead from what we live. And we don't want to fade out. We don't want you, dear listener, to fade out. So that being said, as we fade out of this episode, here is what we covered today. We covered how Broadway performers grab and keep attention, how you can do the same. What else did we cover, Kim?
Yeah, why storytelling is your biggest asset in business and speaking.
The importance of preparation and why winging it is a disaster.
And how to close with impact so people remember you and take action. So now it's your turn. Take one strategy from today and use it in your business this week, whether it's your next sales call, your next speech, or your next social media video post. Bring the Broadway energy.
That's right. Whip out those jazz hands. And if you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and check out our free speaker training right down there in the show notes.
We'll see you on the next episode of Public Speaking Profits, if there is a next episode.
That's right.
Okay, so behind the scenes, this is a good, I could ask like my Broadway nerding questions.
Oh, yeah.
Having the Broadway 7-time Broadway principal superstar we have in our midst. When you had show nights that you had to perform, got to perform, chose to perform, and your energy was low because you had a crazy schedule of commuting 5 hours a day if you do your return trip between where you were in Pennsylvania and New York City, plus you would take getting kids to school. I mean, it was craziness. So you were going on very little sleep,
Yeah.
had very high energy shows.
Special.
If you were if you were
Very special.
if you had a night where your energy was low and you needed to have full energy on stage for performance, what are some things that you would do to get yourself hyped up?
Well, first of all, nutrition is a huge thing. A lot of people don't recognize that the 3 hours that we might be on the Broadway stage is dictated by the other hours we're awake or asleep for the rest of the day,
Mhm.
right? So I just totally changed subjects there. It's sleep, great. But then when I wasn't able to get sleep, nutrition is huge. Being able to have like long energy, high energy foods like nuts, for example, a protein shake, things that would give me calories that would burn over time, not just the stereotypical like sugar up energy and boom, crash back down, coffee up energy, boom, crash back down. So certainly nutrition helped. Another thing that helped was I exercised every single time. I don't care how tired I felt. I don't care if I was just coming out of a nap. It was always important not just to warm up my body to avoid injury, but to exercise because I understand, and all great performers understand, whether they're on Broadway or in business, that motion creates emotion. And so if you're feeling, it's hard to do some jumping jacks or wave your hands around. For those of you who can't see, I'm waving my hands up and down. Like it's hard to feel sad, depressed, tired when you're moving your body in a way that's like kind of like a really fun dance or an exercise or something like that. Motion creates emotion. And so it was super important for me to do that. And then I always made sure that like I had a routine. Part of that was the exercise. Part of that was me just making sure that I got there early enough to be able to sit. My dresser, who is the person who takes care of all my clothes, who helps me get into and out of more complex costume things. If I have a quick change or something, that's he's like the man. He's standing off the side with a water bottle when I come running off and I have to and then go run back on the stage. Like he's like the awesome personal assistant. Like he's there with me and we just get into a rhythm. And even if you don't have that person, right, you're showing up by yourself to an event. When you can get yourself into a rhythm of this, what I do about an hour beforehand. This is what I do about a half hour beforehand, 15 minutes beforehand. Hey, right when I'm backstage, we've got like there's a thing that Kim and I do. Whenever our intro sizzle reel comes on, we just start dancing. Why? Because we know that it loosens us up. It makes us laugh or giggle at one another. Like we just have a good time because ultimately, the more loose we are and the more just relaxed we are, the more impact we're going to make on the stage. And it's the same exact way with Broadway as well as business.
That all being said, I recall there was a time where you didn't make it out on stage on time because you did take a nap. Do you remember that story you could share? I think I
They're too
Wicked.
Yeah, it wasn't I was I wish I was napping. It would probably be not a better story necessarily, but it would make me look better if I was actually napping. There's only 2 times I've ever been I think 2 times I've ever been late on a Broadway stage, and, one of them was in Wicked. And look, in my defense, Wicked is not about Fiyero, the prince. Wicked is about the girls. Wicked is about Galinda and Elphaba, and they spend the majority bless them because they spend the majority of the time on the stage. And then Fiyero, he comes out and rah rah rah, and then he goes and he sits for a half hour, comes back out half hour later, rah rah rah, then goes and sits for like an hour. It is wild. That does not give me any excuse because I was playing video games. I was playing a video game in my room when I hear ba ba da da. I'm like, oh, and I ran. I have never moved that fast. Fortunately, my dressing room was near the stage, but boy, oh boy, that's a big old stage if you've ever seen it in the Gershwin Theater. And Lord, let me tell you, that'll get your energy up. Knowing that you're late to a sold out, because it's sold out every night, sold out crowd, knowing that you're going to get a note from your stage manager and she's going to give you some guff about it.
What was the other time?
The other time was oh geez, when was it wasn't late to stage. I just fell asleep on the stage. And fortunately, I didn't have.
That's what I was referring to originally, by the way, in the story, but I'm glad to know the other one too.
No, I fell asleep. It was in American Idiot, the Green Day musical, and I spent my almost the entire time on a couch, stage right. That was the character. His name was Will, and I spent the time on the couch. And there were choreographed. Everything was choreographed. Picking stuff up, putting stuff down. Here's a magazine there. Blah, blah, blah. And then at one point he goes to sleep, and this was just, I mean, right before my first child was born. I'm talking about like weeks before my first. So I'm commuting back and forth between New York and Pennsylvania. I'm exhausted. And so I end up pretending to sleep on the couch. And boy, oh boy, I fell straight asleep on the couch. And I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, I fell asleep. And my heart is jackhammering. And the entire theater is quiet. There's nothing happening on the stage. And I'm like, oh no, I don't know where we are in the show. It's super quiet. They're probably waiting for me to say something. I don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden, one of the other characters started talking, and it was like, thank the Lord. It was just a moment where there was a little bit of silence and a little bit of clear, and it had nothing to do with me. And so I woke up, and it's like, oh, okay. And then I heard the dialogue, and I knew we were in the show. But I guarantee I'd never fall asleep on a stage ever again. Where were we? This was all about like energy, and all of a sudden it's like stories saying,
well, this is the behind the scenes after the episodes that you get to hear if you get to hear stuff. That was fun. That was enjoyable to get to hear those stories. So just so you know, you can fall asleep on stage. You can get nervous before you get on the stage. You can have the tummy quivers, and yet you can still be a 20-year plus Broadway veteran, a business owner who start multiple $1-million companies. It's just because you're human. So this is the show for you. We're so glad to have you here. Please, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review, and we will talk to you next time. Bye for now.
bye.
All right, that's a wrap.
Yeah, but don't let your newfound speaking mojo go to waste. Why don't you head on over to 100placestospeak.com. That's 100placestospeak.com.